Now, the Assassin's Creed movie, it's been announced to the chagrin of the internet that the movie is going to be 65% present day, 35% in the past. Now, while this is a problem, or why this is a problem, is simply because the present day timeline or present day story is usually not all that interesting in the games. It's usually in each game during the modern day story, it moves very, very slow. Things are very slowly revealed in that, and it's not as interesting as a result, just because it moves so slowly. And in one Assassin's Creed game, you usually get an entire story told in the ancient world timeline, start to finish. There might be a villain, there might be a certain objective to complete, and that is the end of that game. And over that time span, or over that storyline, very little usually happens in the present day. So as a result, a lot of people don't like it. But what uh, the quote that I'm looking for here comes from, let's see. But basically, they have said about the movie, this isn't a video game that we're making. We're trying to make a cinematic experience. And with that, you have to understand. While yes, I understand people being nervous about this, how 2/3 of the game are going to be the part of the game that nobody seems to like. That's understandable. But at the same time, you have to understand that you can't simply take a video game and just make it into a movie. Just make it into a movie. What's so hard about that? It doesn't work that way. There are reasons why they have what's called a screenplay adaptation. If you go to college and you take a script writing class, you'll see just how much work goes into writing a script, something that can actually appear on screen. One page usually translates to 1 minute of screen time, if you think about it in terms of a script. So game scripts don't really work that way. When you make a game, you go through a very different process than when you make a movie. It's still a collaborative effort, but you go through processes differently. The way a story might present itself may be very different than what you're telling with a game. And remember, this is a 2-hour experience, as opposed to if a game today played in 2 hours, we'd all be demanding our money back, because that'd be way, way too short.
Yeah.
So, you're comparing a 2-hour experience to a 20-hour experience, and you can't do that. You simply can't. What were your thoughts on that?
Um, hearing it at first, I originally wasn't gonna look too much into it because that did kind of upset me as an Assassin's Creed fan. And then I thought a little bit about it more, in that again, it like what you said, it's not a game, it's a movie. It's just retelling it, and the main actor even goes to say that uh, it's not going to be about Ezio, or not Ezio. What's
Altair.
Altair? Yeah, it's not going to be about Desmond in the real world and Altair in the Animus. It's going to be two completely new people that we don't know about, following the main protagonist, Callum Lynch, and his ancestor, Aguilar, Aguilar, however you say that. It's in the same you know time area, but we're not going to be following those two because those two have enough story to go into them that I feel like maybe a movie about them might just be again, a shorter version of the game, which they probably didn't want to do. They wanted to recreate a new story, but keep in the Assassin's Creed elements that make an Assassin's Creed game Assassin's Creed, just turn it into a new movie and give like a new point of view. Um, and also, they've completely redone the Animus and this assassin, like we talked about last time. He has a new look, and we know now why. It's not because Altair just decided to wear brown because it blends better with the buildings back then. It's a completely new character, and there's also going to be new people that we've never seen before. We might see Altair, or we might even just hear him talked about in the movie, but um, I personally don't see this as something to get upset about. I feel like a lot of people may have done the same thing as I did and just read the book by its cover, just read the article and been like, "Oh, well, this is going to be like every other video game movie. It's just not going to be good." It's like, no, they're trying to make it to where it's not the video game, it's the movie, but it has to do with the video game world.
And we actually have a comment in chat about it, saying that is why movie video games tend to fail. Um, and I think that's part of the reason you can't do something like the movie Doom that came out with Dwayne Johnson in it, and where basically you had a sequence of the film that was done in first person perspective. And I've heard mixed things about it. I've not seen that movie, but I've heard some people thought that it was the best part of the film. Some people thought it was the worst part of the film. But it was definitely like a gamey part of the movie. And I think that, as having a movie set up as like a act one, act two, act three, not all movies necessarily follow that formula. So you definitely have to adapt a movie, adapt a video game into a movie. And it's just something that we don't really have, like with books, for instance. We've been adapting books into movies for years. Some done extremely well, some done not so well. But there is an established formula for it. We've seen, this has been hugely successful for movies to adapt books into screenplay. And we just haven't really had that done with a video game at all. So, hopefully they know what they're doing. I've got faith in Ubisoft just based on their past live action Assassin's Creed stuff that they have done.